Hey guys, it's Ethan, and today I'm just going to be doing another short tutorial on threads in Python. So essentially today I'm just going to cover what is a thread, like how does it work, how do you start a thread, how do you join a thread, essentially just how do you run two functions in parallel at the same time. And hopefully explaining it in a way that is easily understandable for you guys. So I'm just going to import some modules right now. So importing essentially means I am going to bring them into my definition. That way we can use them within our program. So if I said from class import can, that would mean I could do can1 equals to can, and then call that on that with monster or whatever I want it to do. And so that's how you use that, and that's a class file from the last video. And so we're just going to set up some print statements. We're going to have two outside of functions. So first main statement, copy that across, put it down a couple lines. Second main statement, def print1. And so essentially what we're going to do here is, I'm just going to showcase how threading works, why you want to use it, and under what circumstances. And so we're just setting up some code right now, which is going to help me showcase how we want to do it. So we're just setting up essentially 6 print statements. So we're going to have two functions. I want them to run in parallel, i.e. at the same time. But that's not going to work at the moment, because of the way that Python handles function calls. So what we're going to need to do is run them on separate threads. So essentially what this is here is, let me just call these two. So if we run this now, we'll notice that it starts in the order, right? So it goes first main statement, and then first print 1, then second print 1, and then first print 2. So it works, but like, we want them to be running at the same time. So like, a way to think of this for you guys is, imagine you're driving your car and you go to a street, and on that street there can only be one car at once. So think of we'll up this to 10, that way we've got some time to explain. So think of each of these functions as a car, and so only one car can go at once. So car 1, print 1, is driving up the street and then is driving back, and then once it leaves the street, print 2 is allowed to drive onto the street and start doing whatever they want. Now, a simple way to get to the end of the street at the same time as car 1 and car 2 would be to have them running along two streets. So that's what threading does. So we're going to run print 1 and print 2 at the same time. So essentially there's going to be two streets. The cars are going to drive along them at the same time, rather than having to wait for one to finish using the street before the next car can then use it. So normal Python, you've got one statement here. Python will try to do this. It'll go print 1, it'll go up here and it'll run this code. Once this is finished, once this is returned, we'll just put those in there for simplicity's sake. Once these have returned and come back to wherever it was called, it moves on to the next item. But we don't want that to happen. What we want to happen is, we want them to run at the same time. We want these cars to drive in parallel, so that way that they both get there at roughly the same time. And to do that, we're going to set up some threads. So we're going to set some variables. So thread1 equals threading dot thread, and we're going to point this thread to print1. You don't need to put the brackets to call it, you just need to put the name of the function. And then we're going to go thread2 equals threading dot thread, and we're going to point this one to print2. Now, if I start this program up, nothing happens, because we've set the threads, but we actually have to tell the threads to start doing their job. So to tell them to start doing their job, we simply call .start on them. So now we're telling them to do their jobs. We're telling both of these cars to drive along the roads in parallel at the same time, but we're not telling our third one here, which is the statements outside of the functions, to wait. So we kind of want this other car to wait, which is this other statement here and here. We want them to wait until these guys are done on the road, because there's only 2 roads at the moment. We've only set up 2 roads. So this one just can't go whenever it wants. But right now it's going, so it goes first, 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 second, second, second. But that should be last. So how do we get the program to wait? So how do we execute these at the same time, but then get the rest of the program after this to wait? Well, that's quite simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to call .join method. So this will essentially wait for the thread to terminate, to finish, and then it blocks the calling thread until these have returned, until print1 and print2 have returned. So this will run both of these in parallel, and then we should see second print1 statement first, and then 4 seconds after that second print2. And then finally we will see second main statement. We'll just jump back in here, and so that's essentially how this works. And so for your assignment, this is sort of what you need to call. So you'll set up your functions. You won't need the time.sleeping, obviously. You'll assign your own methods or whatever, your own logic, your own controller methods and things. But when you want to run the lights for 2 controllers in parallel, you'll want to put them on separate threads, start those threads, and then wait for the join and then wait for them to finish by using the join method before returning and then continuing with your logic. So that's the end of this short tutorial on threading, and I hope it helped you guys.